Victoria.
Hello.
Thanks for inviting me into your bedroom.
That's all right.
Do you make music in this bedroom?
Yes, I do.
What-
Often.
What do you like about making it in here compared to maybe like other environments?
It's the most convenient. I don't know, I've just always made music in my room because it's like my own space as well. I can do whatever I want and no one else is like judging what I'm making.
Do you ever feel that you find it hard to maybe work with other people when it comes to like songwriting or something because it feels very personal, or do you like collaborating in that sense?
I think it can go both ways. Like, obviously, recently I've worked with you doing the stuff for our uni project, and I really enjoyed that, probably because the songs were already written as well. But yeah, it just depends. Like, it depends what the topic of the song is. If it's more personal, then it's harder to work with other people.
Yeah.
But yeah, if it's more of a surface level song, I really enjoy collaborating because you get to see how people interpret the song and like what they can contribute to it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so when obviously we go to university together and
Yes.
we did a project together at uni, which was we all were in like a record label and everyone at our cohort had a role within that label. What was it like being in like week one where we got told that idea and like you didn't even know what role you were gonna do, and then at the end like doing it all? What was that kind of like for you?
It was a very big process, I would say, considering at the start I was so scared to put down. I ended up getting the role of artist and I was scared to put that down because I had never played anyone at uni any of my personal music stuff and I hadn't worked with anyone either for that. So just getting that role and then having to play one of my songs to the whole cohort was so nerve-wracking. But I don't know, I really enjoyed the process because it helped me come out of my shell and I really enjoyed working with like all of my friends at uni. I ended up getting to work with like you and a few other people, and like looking back from this side of the project, it was a really like worthwhile experience. I learnt a lot from it. There was obviously some downsides, but
Yeah.
yeah, I liked it overall.
Yeah. Would you say that in a way that kind of project would be good for anyone who would want to be an artist or work within a record label, because you get such a good like experience of like, oh, okay, what would this be like?
Yeah, definitely. I enjoyed it because yeah, I got to see like what that job could be like in the real world and what I would need from other people and what I would need to contribute as well in
Yeah.
order to make sure that like everything happened how I wanted it to happen.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just teaches you a lot about like what your own skills are and how you collaborate with other people.
Yeah. Do you feel like when you were younger, I mean, have you always thought about being a like musician? Has that always been something that you've wanted to do, or is this kind of a newfound thing?
I think I have always wanted to be a musician since I was younger, but I've always been a very shy person, and only like in the last few years since having a few different jobs, being an adult, all of that type
Yeah.
of stuff.
Adulting.
Yeah, I've gotten more confident within myself, and I've been able to actually um, explore my creativity more and like put it out into the world and see what other people think. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Because did you feel like when we did the whole record label thing that you found out that you were great working within a team, or were you like, I would just prefer to do everything by myself? Like, does it make you more want to run towards being an independent artist, or I want to work in a record label and like have a team of people?
It was a bit of a mix of both. I think I enjoyed the collaborations when it came to the songwriting and the recording, but all the other stuff, well, I enjoyed obviously the social media stuff with you as well. You did a really good job. and I suck at my own social media, so that helped a lot. But the other side of like having a manager and stuff, I think I didn't enjoy it as much because there was some issues with that throughout the process, but also I've managed myself for a few years as well.
Yeah.
So it was like a big thing putting that trust into someone else and then seeing whether they would reciprocate like all the things they were supposed to contribute to the role.
Yeah.
So yeah, it kind of made me see that if I were to go into a situation with a record label, I would want to pick my own manager and make sure that they were actually going to
Yeah.
do the role that I wanted them to fulfill.
Yeah, for sure. I think most people would want to be able to work with a team of people because it's such a like massive thing to like produce your own music, get your music out there, promote your music. It's like obviously you as an artist don't want to feel like you have to do everything, but if you can't find that right person to do that role, you're just like, no, I'll just do it myself.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I ended up doing in that process. I ended up being my own manager, but it was still in that record label. So, yeah, for me, that would probably be more of a situation that I would be comfortable in. But, yeah, I'm still learning everything. So I'm still open to new experiences and seeing how different things go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was, I think, ultimately a great project to kind of get this kind of perspective for sure. What was it like when we had like the launch event and like you were like everything was kind of like coming together and you had to perform in front of everyone? Did you feel like kind of like complete that it all come together, like to perform your two songs that kind of had been recorded over those 12 weeks and then you finally got to like perform them? Did that feel good in the end?
Yeah, it was once again, it was a mixed set of emotions. I was glad that we got to perform one because then the project could be like finished as a whole. At that point I was just like so overwhelmed by all the things that I had to do. I just wanted it to be over. But also I was like really excited to play, especially with a band, because I really enjoy playing with bands and I hadn't had an opportunity to do that in a while. Yeah, so I enjoyed that, but I think just the way things ended up going at the end, everything was rushed a lot. So like some aspects of like the production of the songs and stuff didn't get enough attention. So that stuff ended up being a bit less polished than I would like. So yeah, I was just happy to get the project done in the end. But I think the performance went well. There was, just a few factors that meant that it wasn't the best it could have been. But yeah, I was happy with the end result.
That's
I don't know.
really good.
Yeah.
And what were the two songs that you worked on over the course of the project?
I did Truth Hurts and Rose Colored Glasses.
And can you tell me a bit about those songs?
Yeah. So Truth Hurts was the first demo that I sent to my manager. It was already pretty much done, to be honest, the song. I wrote it about like a fight I had with one of my friends in high school, and it was just sort of like saying to them, you need to like look in the mirror and and actually like see yourself for who you are. And yeah, we pretty much just recorded the vocals and the bass and the drums for that song, and then the producer used the stems from the demo that I had already recorded and put that together. That song definitely could have had more development with the production, but yeah, by the end we didn't have a lot of time to.
Because from memory, Rose Colored Glasses I feel like went a bit further in production compared to Truth Hurts, right?
Yeah, definitely. Rose Colored Glasses had a lot more attention paid to it with production and everything. I think because we recorded pretty much everything for the song like in the studio, and the demo was just me singing and playing guitar, so there was a lot to build on. And yeah, I was getting a bit pedantic with how that song ended up being, but I really liked how the production ended up on that song, so I was happy with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was very fun being like your recording engineer and, you know, being your social media person. Like, obviously, it was a lot of fun doing that for you because it was like fun to work for you, someone that I know. In terms of the songs that you've already released on like Spotify and stuff, Silly Days and Dare You to Deserve This, correct?
Yeah.
Where did those songs kind of come from, and why did you are they the first kind of songs that you've ever put out?
Yeah. I put out one song in high school, but that was just like really embarrassing, so I ended up taking it down.
Oh.
But Dare You to Desire This, that one was, I think I put it out in the start of 2019,
Okay.
like, or maybe the middle. That was more just practicing production and stuff.
But it seems like a really unique sound from you because, like, when we were recording, like, Rose-Colored Glasses and, like, Truth Hurts, like, I got the very much indie pop vibe. And then Dare You to Desire This is very, like, moody and, like, grungy.
Yeah.
Where did that kind of come from?
I'm not sure. I was listening to a lot of, like, I don't even know. I was listening to King Princess a lot, I remember that. But I can't remember there was other musicians and songs that I was listening to at the time that, like,
Influenced it.
Yeah, because when I write songs, I write the song and, like, I have the chords and the lyrics, and then I generally, like, make a Spotify playlist for it and put all the songs that I'm listening to at the moment that I want it to sound like, and then I go and, like, add, like, synthesizers and stuff and build the song from there. So I think that's probably how I ended up with that sound. But there was a specific song that influenced, like, particularly the vocal parts, but I can't remember what it is.
Yeah. No, that's okay. No, because it was very, like, you sound very, like, monotone and, like, dark, and then it's like that's such a contrast to, like, when we were recording Rose-Colored Glasses and stuff, and I was like, oh, this is all cheery and blah blah blah, and then it was just such a contrast. Even with Silly Days, like, it's such a contrast. And then Silly Days you wrote during, like, lockdown, correct?
Yeah. I wrote it last year. I was just, like, reflecting on all the times that I had previously to lockdown, because at the beginning of last year I went to Japan with my friend just before everyone went into lockdown. Like, it was the end of February. So then when I got back, I was just, like, reflecting on it, like, oh, damn, I wish I could just be, like, that naive and just be, like, running around a country not knowing where I am again. So that's where that song came from. And I'm trying to think of the influences again, but yeah, I made a playlist once again for that song, and just built it from there. But I definitely focused more on the production for that one again. But yeah, just because I got Logic as well at the start of last year.
Okay. What were you working on beforehand?
Just GarageBand.
Classic.
Yeah. So I was practicing how to use Logic because you probably have seen Logic before.
Yeah.
It's like a combination of GarageBand and what do we use all the time?
Pro Tools.
Yeah, Pro Tools.
Yeah, it's like a kind of step up because I got GarageBand, really found that really confusing in itself. So I was like, I'm never going to understand Logic Pro. And I know that it's like a crowd favorite, but because I was taught how to use Pro Tools like at uni, I didn't feel the need to like be like, I'm going to use Logic now. I was like, I'm just going to keep using Pro Tools.
Yeah. I just ended up using Logic because it was the more like money, like, cost-effective version. But I also did use GarageBand a lot when I was younger, so I found it an easier transition to go to Logic.
No, for sure.
And I just used all the skills that I had from Pro Tools as well that we learnt at uni, and I just, like, combined it all together.
Mashed it, yeah. And in terms of instruments that you play, is it just guitar?
Yeah. My main instrument is guitar. I've been playing guitar since I was like 9, I think.
Wow.
But I'm surprisingly not the best at it, even though I've played that one.
Stop. You are good. Are you self-taught or were you taught?
No, I was taught. I just played like the most basic songs when I was little. And then when I started high school, I did classical guitar for like all of high school. I think that really influenced how I like come up with chord progressions and like melodies and stuff for my songs now.
Yeah.
But yeah, in saying that, that meant that I didn't know how to play like guitar solos and stuff. So that's a new thing that I've been trying to teach myself recently.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
really cool. In terms of like more music to come out, you're releasing something tomorrow, aren't you?
Yeah. So I had a few issues with the distribution with the uni record label.
Okay.
I've been asking them like when they were going to release my songs and they never really got back to me.
Right.
So I'm just releasing those songs on SoundCloud.
Okay.
Because it seems like the most safe way to release
You're going
them.
rogue.
Yeah.
She's going against the record label and
Yeah.
putting them out anyway. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, so I'm putting out Truth Hurts tomorrow,
Okay.
which is Wednesday, and then I will probably put Rose Colored Glasses out on Friday.
Nice.
I just thought I would stagger them because may as well.
May as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and in terms of releasing stuff in the future, I am definitely going to work on some more songs in the next few
Do you want to
months.
do like just singles or do you want to do like an EP, an album? What's kind of your vision?
I have thought about doing an EP, but I just need to go through all the songs that I've written and figure out what goes together and stuff. But yeah, there could be an EP coming out. Yeah.
That's very exciting.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're someone that has a lot of works in progress, or is it very much like you focus on one song, perfect it, and then move on to the next?
Yeah, I very much like hyper focus on one thing at a time. Yeah, I can be very much a perfectionist when it comes to the production of my own songs. That's why I've only put out 2 songs probably because I spend like a year just like working on one
A
thing.
year?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't do it, like I don't work on it very often, but
Yeah.
whenever like I feel creative, I go to the song and work on it. But I'm definitely getting better at churning through songs much faster. I think it just goes with practice.
Yeah. Do you
So-
feel like that for you like to focus on writing the song or coming up with a melody or chord progression? Like, what's kind of your process in that sense?
It changes with every song. Most of the time, I have like most of the lyrics done for a song and like a chord progression. And then, yeah, I find like other songs that I think are a similar vibe to what I want to go for. And I start building it in Logic and then I just see where it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I add lyrics, sometimes I change the song completely, but yeah, that's normally how I do it. I like writing as I'm going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good idea. And then in terms of like, again, not to keep going back to this record label, but it was like a big experience that we
Yeah.
had together.
It was a very big thing.
Yeah. In terms of like, because I was working on your social media and like it was kind of interesting being in control of someone's like image for the first time that wasn't my own. If like beyond the uni label that we did, what's kind of like the way that you would want to brand yourself if you were like moving forward? Like, do you feel like that I kind of stuck to what your image was, or do you feel like, oh, I want it to be a bit different or this way? How do you feel about the way that you present yourself?
I think the way that you branded me, I actually really liked because it was similar to what I had already done, but like a bit more grown up and a bit more like focused on a particular image. I often find it hard to like create one image for myself on like social media and stuff because I'm just not like a social media strategist, so it's yeah, it's hard for me, but yeah, I think I'm going to go forward having the brand of being like, I don't know how you would brand me. What would you describe how you branded me?
I would say it's like, I mean, definitely there's the indie pop
Yeah.
vibe to it. Very like the pastel colors really work with you as well, but not to the point where it's like girly. I feel
Yeah.
like it's the kind of like ripped jean, laid back, like,
Yeah.
not a surfer chick, but like just laid back. Like you're
Yeah.
very down to earth. You don't take yourself too seriously.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just kind of, when I was like putting all the like images together of you and stuff, I was just kind of keeping that in mind. But yeah, I think I'm definitely interested to see where you go in like 5-10 years. I'm like, how much has her image changed? But it's so hard to think of yourself as a brand, because it was
Yeah.
easy for me, because like I can just objectify you and be like, yep,
Yeah.
put her face there, put a flower there, that looks great.
Yeah.
But it's like when it's yourself, it's so hard to be like, oh, like, is this cringy or is this like good?
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely find that like I don't know like how other people perceive me. I've just never been able to figure that out. So that's probably why I find it hard to have like a particular theme or brand on like my social media and everything. But yeah, I would definitely say how you described me is pretty like pretty spot on. I think yeah, people perceive me as like laid back and yeah, probably more towards like indie pop, indie rock. That's the like what's it called trajectory that
Yeah.
I've gone on in the last few years.
But I feel like you could almost go two ways, where like one part of your image is like the like soft indie pop vibe, and then you can go down that more grungy indie rock vibe. So you kind of got two like images that you can play with over the course of your career, I feel like.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I like both very much. Like, growing up, I only listened to like rock music and stuff. Like all the music my dad listened to, I listened to for some reason. But in more recent years, I've listened to a lot more pop music, and I'm not sure why my family makes fun of me for it.
Really?
Yeah.
Too mainstream for them?
Yeah, too mainstream for them. But yeah, I think that's why I'm more interested in like seeing how that pop sound evolves as well. Like I've only just really started with it, especially with Truth Hurts with the label. That was more of a like pop song,
Yeah.
I would say. But yeah, I'm just enjoying playing around with different ideas and seeing how they like all go together. Yeah.
And are there any like artists at the moment that you've been following that have been quite inspiring to you, or like have you been to like some concerts lately that, things have started opening up again so you can start seeing live music, which is good.
Yeah.
And has there been like those artists where you go see them and you're just like, oh, they're such an inspiration? Do you get that?
Yeah, definitely. In the last year, I would say I've listened to a lot more female artists. I don't know why, but I didn't listen to female musicians when I was younger.
Really?
Yeah. But like musicians like Julia Jacqueline, the band that she was in a few years ago called Fantastic Furniture.
What a great name.
I know, it's pretty cool. I actually love the name. And then Phoebe Bridgers, she released something last year, yeah. Who else? Wolf Alice.
Yes.
I really like Wolf Alice.
And Alice is a great name.
Yeah, love the name. And also recently, I went to a few concerts. I went to Spacey Jane, which is like the typical indie person band at the moment, but I really do enjoy their music. And I also went to Middle Kids, which
they're great.
yeah, I just really like their sound. It's very similar to the sound that I often end up producing. So yeah, they're the main influences.
And I feel like with Middle Kids, like I remember seeing them at Laneway in like, oh gosh, like 2019, so like before COVID.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're very original, but then they've got that indie pop vibe, and I don't know, they've been doing well.
Yeah, I really enjoy their music. Also, the lead singer is a left-handed guitarist, which always gets me. I don't know why.
You're not alone.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not alone. Yeah, I just like the style of songwriting as well. I find it really interesting. I always tend to like lean towards music that almost sounds like it's from like a church. I don't know why.
That's so interesting. What do you
Yeah.
mean, like gospel or
Yeah,
like
music, I don't know, it just sounds like it's influenced by church music because I grew up going to like different Christian schools because that's how my mum was raised. So she wanted me to go to those schools and I ended up having to go to church a lot and I was in like the choir in high school.
Okay.
So yeah, I often find that I'm very influenced by music that has that like Christian sound. I don't know.
Does it kind of bring back a nostalgia or a comfort to you?
Yeah, I think so. And I really like choirs and like harmonies and stuff as well. So I often try and work in like very like reverby like backing vocals into my songs. I really enjoy it. So when I hear it in other people's music as well, I'm always drawn to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was talking to someone else who also is went to church or does go to church and is a musician, and I was wondering like, do you feel like that kind of has helped you with your singing skills, because there's a lot of like harmonies and like you're working in a choir together and like you're performing a lot in front of people, like does it almost give you a sense of professionalism because you're always doing it? Did you get that?
Yeah, for sure. In high school, I started out in the choir not even singing. I was that shy. Like, I would sit in the corner just playing guitar. And my sister was in it with me. My sister was, like, my safety net pretty much in high school. She would, like, come along to all the singing things with me and we would do it together. But I eventually started actually singing in the choir. And
Not just doing this.
yeah, that's literally what I did like half of my life. I just mimed singing. But yeah, I eventually like grew my confidence and started singing, and I did like harmonies and stuff as well, which yeah, I very much enjoy. Like there's just something about singing in a group of people, like you all like feel the same energy and it's just like a good exchange. I don't know.
No, I did choir in school as well and like vocal ensembles. I was never good at the harmonies. Like I had a friend who would stand next to me. She knows who she is. She would stand next to me and be like, okay, this is what you need to sing. And she wasn't even in my group. Like I was alto, God. She was soprano. And she was just like, this is what you need to be singing. And I was like, I can't do this. So I feel you.
Yeah. That was
But you get harmonies. Like, do you feel like it comes naturally to you now?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I don't know. I've just always been able to sing. It sounds like very snobby, but
no.
Like, the other day my boyfriend was like asking me like how to sing. I'm like, I don't know. I just sing.
I just do it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I've just been able to sing. So, like, getting to be able to sing with other people who also actually enjoy it was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's really nice.
Yeah.
Do you, when growing up and stuff, do you feel like you were surrounded by people who were singers, or do you feel like you've kind of been a sore thumb, like everyone knows you're the singer, or do you feel like you've kind of always had people around you that are musicians?
Yeah, definitely. All my friends in primary school and high school were singers. Like, the first time I ever performed was when I was in year 5. Me and like 3 of my friends, we did Rolling in the Deep at the school talent quest, and I just played guitar in the background whilst my friends sang. So, but I ended up being like the quiet like leader of the group. Like I was the one conducting everything just in the background. So yeah, I've always been like the person who knows what they're talking about, but I always end up like on the sidelines because I don't like being the main center of attention.
Do you feel like you've had to like push yourself more to be that person? Because obviously it's like not a business that rewards being shy, which sucks, because just because you're a bit shy in a situation doesn't mean that you're not capable. And I think sometimes people don't recognize that. They kind of just like, well, they didn't voice their opinion, so it doesn't matter. It's like, well, maybe just ask. Like, do you feel that?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I've constantly had to prove that I actually can do what I want to do, especially, yeah, towards the end of high school. I was always like not given any attention just because I was the quiet one, so no one knew that I actually could like
Do it.
do it. But yeah, I've definitely tried to prove that like even though I am naturally a more quiet person, I can still like take up space and like sing and do all the things that like I didn't do when I was younger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you feel like at uni and stuff, that's been something that you've pushed for more, like to kind of get out of your shell a bit and be like, no, I know what I'm doing?
Yeah, definitely. I've tried to like for some reason I've tried to not make my music stuff the main focus going into the degree because I really did want to learn about production and like all the behind the scenes stuff because that's just what I've always landed towards, just doing like the more like quiet part. But yeah, this year has definitely benefited me in showing that like I shouldn't be embarrassed about wanting to do music and like express like all my creativity and like my own ideas.
Yeah,
I can definitely do
absolutely.
that. Yeah.
And I think I don't so much relate with the shy aspect, but I definitely relate to the like maybe more self-doubt. Like when
Yeah.
I came into the course, I was like, I don't know anything about production or music production, and I don't know how to use Pro Tools, and there's all these people who look really muso that just know what they're doing, and it was quite intimidating. And then I guess for me, what I found really like even harder is because I came from an all-girls school, and then I'm coming into a course that's like 90% dudes.
Yeah.
And it's like, where are my 10% ladies?
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, it was really hard. And now getting into like third year, it's like, it's been such a like journey to actually like find like a good like group of like girls who I can like relate to, because like I feel like we've all struggled with the like self-doubt in a course that's like mostly guys.
Yeah.
I don't know, have you felt that?
Yeah, I relate to that 100% because I went to an all girls school as well. And going straight from that, like I didn't even take a gap year or anything. I just went straight to university. And yeah, that was a very big culture shock. Like I hadn't had to speak to guys like since primary school pretty much. Like I didn't even do sports with guys. I played netball. Like so luckily I met one of my first friends on the orientation day. So I kind of stuck with them throughout the whole course. But yeah, I've definitely found it an interesting journey to try and find a group of friends that like I know is solid, and also having to compete with like men and also people who already know what they're doing and like already have skills in the music industry.
Yeah.
It's been a very interesting like journey.
No,
Yeah.
for sure. And I think it's like that thing where it's obviously like no one in the course is bad or evil, but it's that thing it just feels naturally intimidating when you kind of grow up and you think, well, the face of the music industry are men, and then you go into a course that's like mostly guys, so you kind of have this sense of like, I need to prove to them that I am good enough, even though that's not necessarily on them. I guess that's kind of on us a little bit, but it is that thing where it's like, it's kind of been a relief that I've seen that some guys have been more proactive in like making that like a thing, like they acknowledge that being a woman in this industry is tough, like, and I think it's kind of like refreshing to like have those conversations with the guys in like our course and stuff. But yeah, I think it's very interesting going into like something that's so male dominated, and yeah.
Yeah, I've definitely found that as well. Yeah, I definitely found this year, like going into especially the record label thing with our tutor, who is very much like
Jeff.
yeah, his name's Jeff Crabtree. He's very much for women and like pushes the idea that like women can be in any role in the music industry, and I found that, like, from the beginning of the course, I think one of the main reasons why I didn't want to show that I liked writing music and, like, producing my own music is because I didn't want to just be labeled as that girl that wants to be, like, a pop singer or something.
Which is so horrible that that's even a thought that would come through your head.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you were the only girl who was an artist out of, like, 7 other people. So it's
Yeah.
like...
Exactly. Like, yeah, so, yeah, I went into the course thinking I don't want to show these people, like, that I write my own music, because I wanted to actually learn about production and everything as well, which I know is very male dominated. Like, it's very rare to find a very big female producer in the industry. And yeah, I found it very strange going into this record label being the only female artist. Like, I found that was the angle I was often taking, because I didn't want to just be the cop-out female artist, but also I don't think that, like, people should restrict themselves to certain roles just because they don't want to be seen as, like, less than, or, like, just the phony, like, girl singer.
Absolutely. And I mean, it was kind of nice, though, that, like, obviously me and Ashley were working with you as your recording engineer, so we were girls.
Yeah.
Like, actually, all the recording engineers ended up being girls, which was great.
Yeah.
But, you know, most of the producers were guys, most of the mixer and, like, mastering engineers were guys. So it would have been nice to, like, have everyone, like, split off a bit more in terms of the roles. And it would have been nice to kind of have, like, half guys, half girls as, like, the artist, just to kind of mix it up a bit.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think the project just showed, like, that it was, like, we're all lab rats, like, showing kind of, like, a real circumstance thing that happened. And at the end of the day, we only ended up with one female artist. And I guess I wrote about that in the report. I was like, this is kind of something that we should take note of, because why is that? Why did we only have one girl be an artist? Or why did we not have more female mastering engineers, you know? So
Yeah, I definitely found that as well. Like, I was thinking, like, because we got given roles based on preferences that we all gave in, and artist was my third preference. It wasn't, like, even my top preference, which meant that I was probably the only female that picked artist, considering, like, it wasn't, like, one of my top preferences.
yeah.
So either that's saying something about maybe women in our course being scared to be in that role, or, like, maybe they're striving for, like, higher roles, which is also a good thing.
Yeah, like
It's
our
hard to
label
know.
leader, Jamie,
Yeah.
who is, like, a female in charge of all of us. Like, that was also really nice, you know, to not have a dude tell us what to do.
Yeah, exactly. And also, like, the leaders of, like, the social media team and everything were female. But yeah, I definitely found throughout the experience, like, I was constantly like, oh, I wish I had worked with this female instead of this male, because it would have been a better experience, and I know they would have done the job better. And I don't know whether it was because of the person or whether it was because of, like their gender and how it influenced how they were doing the job.
Yeah.
It's really hard to know, but it was a very interesting, like, experiment, kind of.
Yeah, no, it really was an experiment, and it makes you have, like, those uncomfortable conversations, because it's like there were times where, like, I felt like I had to be assertive or, like, say something that otherwise I wouldn't feel would make me uncomfortable if I was doing it with a woman, because I would be like, no, like, she'll understand and, like, she'll respect me, whatever. But, like, as soon as it was, like, I have to be assertive to a guy, I was like, oh, like, are they going to take that the wrong way? Are they going to think I'm a bitch? Like, you know, all those, like, self-doubt things go through your head, and you're like, this is so bad that I'm thinking like this, because I do genuinely think that most of the guys in the course are good people, and they're very, you know, woke people.
Yeah.
But it is that thing, as, you know, women, we struggle with that, and especially going into the music industry, it's a fear that I think we have, because it's like, these are real situations where, you know, men are putting down women and not letting them get further in their career, or, you know, sexual harassment. Like, it's all just such a big problem.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for sure. And obviously there wasn't anything to that scale that happened in our experiment, but there was like a few scenarios where it felt like people were acting a certain way and not like reciprocating things because of their gender.
Yeah.
And also, like, I don't think this was related to gender at all, but I found that like my manager was male and he wasn't helping me at all throughout the whole process. And I was just thinking, I'm not going to let this person stop me from like getting all the opportunities that I can get throughout the experience.
Yeah.
So I ended up just doing everything for myself, which I find maybe would happen to a lot of female musicians in the actual like music industry, which is like a sad thing to confront.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, for sure.
No one could see me escaping this mundane life. So I put my rose-colored glasses on. Life's much better in red. I hate to seem predictable. Some things are better left unsaid.
In the record label, you were called Cuts,
Yes.
not Victoria Cuts. Would you ever use that as like a stage name, or did you kind of just like, was that your idea? Was that someone else's idea?
It was my manager's idea. I liked it kind of, but also I don't know. I didn't know how to perceive it, and I just ended up going along with the name because it was the easiest option, to be honest. And also I felt that like giving this project a name separate from my own name helped in case things went wrong, and I didn't want to like brand
That's a
it
very
as my
valid
own name.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in the future, yeah, I'll definitely stick to my own name just because that's who I am. Like,
Yeah.
I prefer to just brand myself as myself.
Yeah, like I guess because some people like that, I don't know, level of separation where like they have their stage name and then they have their real name. But do you feel like as an artist it makes more sense just to have your Victoria Cuts? Like,
Yeah, I think so at this point, like, in my, like, development, doing all this stuff. And I have, like, constantly thought about what name I should have for all my music things throughout the whole time I've done music. Like, when I first started, I was doing it with my sister, as I said before. We used to, like, perform at stuff together, and we called it Tori M's because it was, like, a...
okay.
it was a mixture between both of our names.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, ever since then I haven't been able to come up with a name that like properly identifies my music as me, so I've just stuck with my own name.
Yeah. Sometimes I think we want to overcomplicate things and it's
Yeah.
like, why don't I just use my name?
Yeah, exactly. That's how I view it. And yeah.
I think in the way, for me, it's the same thing with like branding a look. If you dress and look a certain way, what's the point of changing it just for like a brand? It's like, well, it's already part of your branding to dress this way anyway. So like it's going to feel natural to brand yourself like that anyway. Like if you just suddenly started wearing latex, everyone would be like, this is some interesting branding by Victoria.
Yeah, exactly. I definitely agree with that. Like when I do performances, I just wear clothes I would normally wear. Obviously nicer clothes or clothes that are a bit more like colourful and creative, but I always stick to clothes that I would actually wear because I'm not going to perform at my best and show who I am if I'm wearing clothes that don't like
Reflect you.
Yeah, exactly. And I've always been like that in general with everything. Like I am who I am, and if you don't like it, I'm just sort of like whatever, I'll just move on. Like
Yeah.
that's just how I am. I don't know.
No, that makes sense. I think it makes way more sense to like feel comfortable as an artist with what you're wearing and what you're presenting than just like wearing clothes that you think this is going to get me more like attention or more likes or more views. Like it's just kind of like, but you're never really going to be like satisfied because you're just pretending to be someone else. Like you're not you're not comfortable. And it's like, I mean, it goes again with the thing of like, you know, Ed Sheeran goes on stage in jeans and a white shirt. No one seems to give a shit. Like, it's kind of like, I think it goes back to like being a woman in music. And it's like, but you're expected to like present in a certain way. Whereas like Ed Sheeran can get away with just wearing jeans and a white shirt and everyone's like, he's so amazing. It's like, well, yeah, but so is this chick who just maybe wants to wear a floral dress and call it a day, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I've always thought of it like that as well. Like, I don't want to be that musician that like wears no clothes because it'll get more attention from people. And if you want to be like that as well, be like that. Like, people should just be allowed to dress how they want to dress, not in a certain way so that they get more followers and more attention.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Or because like someone above them is like, you need to dress like this. And it's like, no.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, thanks for inviting me into your bedroom. It's been a lovely conversation.